Hello, my name is Suresh Garamella. I'm the Executive Vice President for Research and Partnerships and a Distinguished Professor at Purdue University. We at Purdue University have been deeply engaged with Colombia for some time now. We became aware of the potential of the Orinoqui region and its importance to the entire country. A few years ago, President Santos asked us to partner in the development of a master plan for the region based on science and a systems-driven approach, and to focus on the sustainable development of the Orinoqui. While there are many aspects of a comprehensive master plan for the region, such as agribusiness, tourism, education, transportation, information and communication technologies, anthropology, involving the local communities, and so on, we started the first phase of our work focusing on agribusiness and tourism. Our partner in this effort was DNP, and the contract for this work was executed through ESAP. We also had a good number of partners in country, such as Uniandes, Nacional, Unillanos, Corpoica, which is now called Agrosavia, the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism, as well as a number of medium, small, and large businesses, the farmers, NGOs, departments, the governments at the departmental and municipal level as well. In the rest of this presentation, my colleagues from Purdue University will cover the activities, the findings, and our recommendations from the first phase of our work.
Hello, my name is Ken Foster. I'm a professor of agricultural economics and President's Fellow for Columbia-Purdue Partnerships at Purdue University. I'm going to be speaking about Purdue's agricultural activities in the Orinoqui region over the last 2 years. First, I want to identify the Purdue agricultural team. The team was led by Professor James Lowenberg DeBoer, who has since retired from Purdue. In addition, Professors John Sanders and Paul Preckle were heavily involved in the project, as well as several of their graduate students. Purdue's activities in agriculture in the Orinoqui were focused on supporting sustainable agriculture and economic development for the region. In addition, the team endeavored to identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that faced agriculture in the region, and to inform future priorities about research and development and agriculture in the region. The team spent almost 6 months in the field, talking with farmers, visiting with farmer associations and cooperatives, working closely with government officials and members of the NGO community, and of course, our colleagues in the academic community to develop data and knowledge about the Orinoqui's diverse agriculture. That knowledge was brought back to the laboratory, where the Purdue team developed a very sophisticated analytical tool to guide future decisions in farming for the Orinoqui. The tool is very powerful in evaluating new crops, new technologies, as well as evaluating the impacts of alternative agricultural policies. We hope that farmers, technicians who advise farmers, our colleagues in the academic community, and government officials will use this tool to address the future challenges of Colombian and Orinoqui agriculture. The team worked very hard to develop a model that was realistic, that encaptures the total diversity of Orinoqui agriculture, the many crop and livestock enterprises that have potential there, as well as the diverse growing conditions across the region. To that end, the team developed several versions of the model that reflect these differences in growing conditions, as well as different scales of farming operations in the Orinoqui region. That tool was also used to evaluate a set of feasibility studies. Those feasibility studies were used in training of individuals in Colombia in hopes that they would use the model as well as train others in the use of the model, and perhaps even take the model to new areas and reparameterize it to address issues that we had not even foreseen at the time the model was developed. Furthermore, those case studies were then used to inform information about potential future opportunities and prioritize those for investigation, exploration, and development in the Orinoqui region. Let's turn briefly to the case studies. In the Piedemonte region, the team developed two different case studies, one focused on small-scale farms and the other focused on medium-scale farms. In the Alta Junora area, the team developed, again, two case studies. One focused on medium-scale farms and the other focused on larger-scale farms. The team also investigated a feasibility study for integrated pork and grain production. Integrated pork and grain production exists in the Alta Junora on a very large scale today in a few cases. But the team's feasibility studies were focused on the feasibility of this combined strategy for small and medium scale farms in that region. In addition, the team looked at the combination of ecotourism with beef production in the flooded savannas. And finally, the other feasibility study that I want to present to you is one that focused on the production and advancement of Marañón in the Vichada region. Those feasibility studies led to a set of proposed pilot projects for future development and exploration. Let me talk to you briefly about those. In the case of the small-scale farm in the Piedemonte region, the team discovered the importance of small fruit in that region and the strength amongst the producers with respect to knowledge about technology to produce small fruits. Those small fruits provide a great income opportunity for the small-scale farmer. But without continued investment in knowledge, information, technology about production, and most importantly, access to markets, those opportunities will not be capitalized upon. The pilot project focuses on market information strategies for those farmers so that they're more informed about making decisions about renovating or changing crops, especially in the case of perennial fruit crops, as well as developing access to technology and developing markets. And when we speak about developing markets, we're not just talking about infrastructure and road construction. We're talking about the structures that support markets where farmers might market directly some of their products. The second pilot project that was identified was the development, indeed, of ecotourism combined with beef production in the flooded savanna. The feasibility study revealed that the returns to cattle production in the flooded savannas were not competitive with other opportunities in Colombia. We conclude that the current generation of cattle farmers in the region will probably continue to produce cattle, but the next generation is likely to not be satisfied with those low returns to their investment in land, and likely will sell the land or leave the land for other opportunities. The feasibility study revealed that there is potential for the combination of ecotourism with cattle production in the flooded savanna to generate returns to land that are competitive with alternative investments in Colombia. Therefore, this pilot project would investigate further the costs and the markets associated with ecotourism in the region, as well as what needs to be done on such a farm to devote some of the land to tourist-based infrastructure. The next case study that revealed a pilot project was the one focused on integrated pork and grain production for small-scale farmers in the Alta Junora. Again, that feasibility study revealed that this strategy has potential to generate high returns to investment. However, there are a number of issues that must be solved and addressed and explored before we can know for certain if this strategy is truly feasible. First of all, the investment in machinery for crop production is quite large. Are there ways in which farmers can reduce that investment by sharing machinery or engaging in custom tillage, planting, or other production activities? This system depends heavily on using some of the grain produced on the farm to feed the livestock. And so the question arises about on-farm feed processing And again, the sustainability of such an integrated farming approach depends on the use of the animal manure as a fertilizer ingredient for growing the crops. Little is known about these technologies at the small and medium scale in Colombia. Yet at Purdue, we have tremendous knowledge about this because this is the very agriculture that exists in our region. We hope that we might have the opportunity to share that with Colombian farmers in the future. The next case study is the one about Marañón in Vichada. There exists Marañón in Vichada today, but it is not intensively managed because of the difficulties with respect to market access. Transportation is a serious problem in Vichada, and yet Marañón represents a great opportunity because it has a great value to weight ratio. And in such environments where transportation is a complicated issue, products with high value to weight ratio tend to be good strategies to invest in. Marañón also has some challenges that need to be explored. We need to find ways to link the local producers to international markets, which are experiencing tremendous growth in demand for Marañón, and associated with that, incredible increases in market value. We also need to explore the processing of Marañón. It's difficult and potentially dangerous. The opportunity to involve food engineers, food processing engineers, and food scientists to explore new artisanal or improved ways to process Marañón to improve the safety and quality of the product are very important as a part of this proposed pilot project. And finally, the last pilot project relates to the development of a network for food production and provision of food for agricultural workers in industries such as the palm oil industry. The palm oil industry requires a large labor force to produce and process palm oil. One of the difficulties for that industry is finding sufficient labor. It's a profitable enterprise, we know, when labor exists. It's very difficult when labor does not exist. And in many rural areas of the Orinoqui, it's difficult to attract labor because the living conditions are not always optimal. One of those aspects of the living conditions is access to quality and available and affordable food. And so this pilot project proposes to develop a network of small and medium scale fruit, vegetable, and meat producers that would supply agricultural workers in a centralized fashion and in concert with the agribusiness that's involved in the processing. We hope that Purdue will have an opportunity to explain to these to you in more detail in the future. All of these pilot projects are developed to be multi-year projects that involve demonstration farms where we and our colleagues in Colombia can examine the information, refine the model, and then franchise it to other interested farmers in the region. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to turn over the presentation to my colleague Jonathan Day, who will talk to you briefly about Purdue's tourism activities in the Orinoquia. Thank you.
G'day, I am Jonathan Day and I'm an Associate Professor in Tourism in Purdue's School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. My work focuses on sustainable tourism, and over the last 2 years I've had the great pleasure of learning something about the challenges of building tourism in the Orinoquia in a way that supports the social, cultural, and economic development of the region. In this video, I will share some of our findings from our work in the Orinoquia and highlight some of the actions that we recommend. Our process of discovery and learning of these issues in tourism in the Orinoquia included meetings with local operators, farmers, hoteliers, owners of attractions, tour wholesalers, departmental and municipal leaders, and members of non-government organizations. These meetings included one-on-one interviews, industry forums, and a series of workshops. During the project, we visited a variety of current and potential tourism sites. As the peace process continues, the growth of tourism in the Orinoquia region is expected to continue. Tourism is a powerful tool for economic development, but when poorly managed, it can have negative outcomes. Ensuring the growth of tourism delivers the best possible outcomes for the people of Colombia and in particular the people of the Orinoqui, is the focus of our work. Tourism that applies the principles of sustainable development, protecting the beloved environment, celebrating heritage and culture, and ensuring economic benefits for communities and for businesses, particularly small businesses, only occurs when planning and commitment take place. It is important to acknowledge that Colombia is advanced in its adoption of sustainable tourism. Many sectors are required to achieve sustainable tourism standards in order to operate. And the people of Colombia are committed to sustainability. Our findings are based on key observations of tourism in the region. These observations inform our recommendations and the suggestions for pilot projects that I will discuss later. The first finding is that destinations of the Orinoqui are at the beginning of their tourism life cycle. This means this is an important time for building and investing in tourism. In the early part of the life cycle, there is an opportunity to build the foundations of the future. This foundational work goes beyond road and infrastructure development. There are other important assets to be built now, even as tourism grows, and they include building the reputation or brand of the region, building social capital with distribution networks and the marketplace, and building new products and experiences, and building the capacity, the skills to leverage the opportunities of tourism. Another important concept critical to all involved in developing tourism is that it is best considered as a system or a network. Each actor in the system plays different but important roles. Government plays an important role in creating a policy framework that supports sustainability and can stimulate cooperation and collaboration. Nevertheless, strategies to develop tourism must support all levels of the system. Tourism is a complex activity with many interacting, interrelated parts. It is a team activity, and the team wins when each of the players is strong, effective in their individual roles, and working towards a common goal. I want to note two other important starting points. First, that sustainability and competitiveness are mutually supportive. Destinations aren't sustainable unless they are competitive in their chosen markets. But in the current marketplace, sustainability improves competitiveness. The second is that the building blocks that we will discuss next represent part of an ongoing process, not activities that will be completed once and then done. Each of the pilot projects is built on the same set of foundational activities or building blocks. These building blocks are as follows. Market research. Understanding the needs and behaviors of consumers is critical to effective marketing. A high priority for development of the region is understanding the characteristics of Colombian domestic travelers, the needs of these consumers, and the appeals of the destination to these consumers. Understanding of select international markets will also be useful. Without market research such as this, marketers and developers are working blind. The second building block is destination brand development. A destination brand is far more than a tagline or a logo. Destination branding can be considered the development of your reputation. Components of effective brand building include a shared understanding of the environmental and cultural assets of the region. Not just a list, but a deep understanding of the assets and what they mean to the community. Signature experience development, that is, working with the industry to develop tourism experience that best represent the destination, and brand communication strategies that provide a framework for creating messages that reinforce each other. The third building block is market development. The destinations of the Orinoqui must undertake market development activities, including promotion directing at target groups of consumers, informed by the market insights I mentioned earlier, and working with the Colombian travel trade. Tourism marketing involves a set of specific activities, and destination marketing organizations and individual producers must develop these skills. The fourth building block is product development. Consumers remember experiences, and producers must ensure that their products and services are memorable. Many small and micro businesses see opportunity in tourism. There is opportunity to support them in their business development. Tourism also provides opportunity for suppliers to businesses serving tourists directly. If destinations are to ensure that they receive the best outcomes, they must work to ensure that money stays in their community and goes to these local businesses. The final building block is a commitment to capacity development. The destination will be strong and smart and successful when the destination members are strong and smart and successful. It is important to note that our recommendations are designed to support programs already in place in tourism. These recommendations are designed to strengthen the foundations of any tourism development activity. While each of the building blocks can be undertaken separately, our team presented 3 ways these activities could be packaged into pilot projects. These pilots are designed to maximize the synergies of the building blocks. The first pilot suggested taking a destination-based focus, building on a destination that has already shown some success in working together in clusters and to develop their destination and to create an example of the value of taking a systematic approach to the building of the market. The pilot suggested Yopal and its region as a pilot location. The second pilot suggested taking a market-based approach to tourism development. Los Llanos already holds an important place in the minds of Colombians, and government programs have already focused on the corridor of Los Llanos. This project proposed applying training and development across Los Llanos destination communities. And the final pilot was smaller in scope and focused on the supply chain for tourism. It proposed working in specific communities to ensure that destinations and individual businesses had the capacity to capture economic value from tourism. A number of communities within the region would benefit from this activity. These projects are scalable and replicable. They can be taken all at once, or they can be undertaken in stages. Purdue is committed to supporting the development of the sustainable tourism in the Orinoqui. In the months since the completion of the project, we have maintained contact with producers, clusters, and municipalities in the region, providing information and advice on marketing and development issues. We look forward to continued engagement with the people of Colombia in these important activities. Thanks.
This project has set the stage for important future efforts for sustainable economic development of the Orinoqui. Purdue University is excited about the opportunity to work with our Colombian partners to initiate these projects and build on the momentum already generated. We're committed to Colombia and to the Orinoqui region for the long run and look forward to helping to co-create a prosperous Orinoquia for the betterment of all of Colombia.